Hey everyone, you're very welcome back to another episode of Discover Your Future in DCU. My name is Sinead McCrohan from the student recruitment team in DCU, and I'm delighted to be back to host our final episode of this webinar series. So over the last couple of months, we've been focusing on different areas in DCU, for example, studying psychology or chemistry or physics. And today we are going to be focusing not only on the Institute of Education, but specifically the education and training degree in DCU. And as you can see, my Zoom screen is surrounded by lots of stakeholders involved in that course, and we'll be able to chat to everyone about their experience with the course in great detail today. So thank you everybody for coming along. If you're watching this back on record, please do comment any questions that you have on this YouTube channel. We'd be happy to get back in touch with you. Or if you want to email us privately, you can email us at studenthelp@dcu.ie and we can forward your queries on to whichever panelist we think is most appropriate. So I'll introduce you first to Jane O'Kelly, who is the chair of our education and training course in DCU. So you must know the most about this course than anyone on the planet. Jane, would you like to give us a bit of an introduction and I suppose an overview of what this course has to offer?
Thanks very much, Sinead, and hello everybody, and thanks to the students joining us here today. Yeah, I talk a lot about the programme, so I'm going to try and keep it small at the moment. I'm quite evangelical about it. The BSc in Education and Training is a level 8 honours degree, and I like to think of it as a very comprehensive and responsive programme that really is thinking about who you are as a person, as an educator and a trainer, what skills and what knowledge you need to achieve that dream working in any part of the education sector, really. And the programme tries to respond to your needs and the needs of the sector in that way. So I say sector because really what I believe and what the values of the programme are, and I hope I think shared by many of our students that go through it, is that there are a particular set of skills and knowledge and theory and really ethos that educators and trainers should have. And it doesn't really matter where you are, whether you're working in corporate, business, primary, post-primary, further education training, or indeed early childhood. You as an educator and a trainer standing in front of whoever wants to learn in a facilitative mode, in a kind of teach from the top mode, whatever mode it is, there's a certain amount of theory and knowledge and skills that you need to have. And this program tries to provide a really good grounding and a comprehensive understanding of what they are. Because really, as we know as well as educators and trainers, it's a constant process. We're improving and we're reflecting, we're taking part in CPD, and most of all, we're learning from the people that we work with, that we teach and that we train. So that really are the ethos and values of the program. And it came from an adult education need really back in the late 90s, when the adult education sector, which is now known as further education and training, had a range of really good people teaching and training within that sector, but they didn't have a qualification or a particular kind of understanding around the theory and knowledge provided to them in a kind of comprehensive or focused way. So the program arose out of that need through research and through consultation and information as well. And the program has evolved over those last, long time. I won't talk about how many years. And we're hoping from each iteration as we go through with students like our graduates and our students here today, that we are evolving it to meet the needs of further education, and also our traditional students might be interested in primary teaching, are moving on into the areas of HR or training, that we're meeting their need in terms of the universal design for learning, our design thinking, our entrepreneurship, enterprise education, our sustainability. And all of these particular strands revolve around those core ideas around your ethos, who you want to be in the world, issues of social justice and equality, and also those core skills, knowledge and theory that you need to achieve that.
So you're basically looking at all the really essential pillars in education, making sure that anyone doing this course has all those pillars firmly built and then can kind of go on into whatever area of education they think would suit them best. That's kind of the feel for it.
Yeah, and I'll let the students do that, the graduate student, the talking now in a second. But yeah, that's the aim. And of course, it would be 15 years long if we were trying to cover absolutely everything within it. But it's really to start that process, and for people that are going through the program then to take from that what really resonates with them. So it's a kind of, well, for me, because because I did the program myself, was a transformative thing,
Yeah.
affirming. You know, it kind of showed me what I already knew and what I could do and what I wanted to be, and then gave me the skills and the knowledge to make that happen.
Absolutely. So I'm thinking who we go to next. We might work in chronological order in terms of like starting in university. So Sophie, I might come to you first, as you're in second year of this course at the minute. And I believe you might be thinking of going down the teaching route for a primary school. Is that right?
Yeah, so when I did my leaving cert, I really wanted primary teaching, but I didn't get enough points, and I didn't look into, when I was doing my CAO, I just didn't look into like what, if I didn't get the points, what
Yeah.
course to do. So I ended up doing an arts degree, and I hated it. I just didn't like it. I wanted to do teaching, and I went to, one of my mom's friends is a principal in a primary school. So I went to her and I said to her, like, I hate my course. Don't really want to keep doing it, but I really want to be a primary teacher. And she said to me that she knew a few teachers in the school that had done education and training.
Mm-hmm.
I said, okay. I put that down then on my CAO the following year, and then I got into that course and started in 2019, maybe. I don't know. I'm in second year now, or I'm going into third year. And I love it. Yeah, I loved it straight away. Like, the first course that I did, I only lasted 4 weeks because I just really didn't like it, didn't like any of the modules. Whereas as soon as I started education and training, the class sizes are small. I was with the same people all the time.
Mm-hmm.
And the lecturers were lovely, and all of the modules were about stuff that I was interested in, and they were related to, I could see how they were related to like the classroom and stuff. And I have friends that are doing the BEd going to be primary school teachers, and a lot of the stuff is like similar enough kind of theories and topics, kind of because it's based on education, and we do like lesson plans and things like that are related to primary teaching. And for the assignments and stuff, you can kind of pick if you want to do them on whether you're interested in like primary teaching, secondary, well, not secondary, like further ed, like you can kind of pick age group that you want to complete your assignment on, as long as there's kind of like certain criteria that you get, and then you can just choose what kind of age group you want to do the assignments on. So I think it's really helpful that way. And as well, you're in the course with people that want to do primary teaching. There's people that want to do adult ed, so it's kind of interesting to learn from different types of people and people that are interested in different things.
Yeah, and fair play to you, Sophie, for making that decision to kind of change course, because it's not easy. And I know there's who might kind of suffer through and kind of just think, oh no, I'll get it done. But you clearly have a passion for primary school teaching, and you're going to make it happen, which is brilliant. So after this degree, you probably hope to go on to do your master's then?
Yeah, hopefully. So I have my Irish, the DCU actually do a thing where they let you do, I had my Irish, you need a H4 I think to do the masters, and I had it anyway, but you need to do an exam before you go to the masters.
Yeah.
So DCU kind of let you do it's through NUIG, I think, an Irish course. So I've done that as well, so I'll be ready then for the masters.
Yeah, keeping your Gaeilge up as you go along the way. Thanks for that, Sophie. So Olivia, I know that you're finished your degree now pretty much. Just stop me on the T's.
Yeah, that's it and stuff. And like just listening to Sophie there, like part of me would love to be back in her shoes. Just to like, because it's such an exciting degree in that, and as well when you're deciding about the placement year. And like from my point of view, when I came into the degree, like that was always something I wanted to do. And like unfortunately, COVID cut it short to a degree. But that was a huge kind of selling point for me, was that kind of placement year. Because me as a person would like that I'd be more suited to kind of the hands-on approach. So that was definitely a huge kind of enjoyment over say the 4 years. So yeah, that was a big one for me. And stuff
could you tell us a bit more about what you did, because I'm sure, and Jane probably attests, like the placements can differ and they can vary depending on your interest, but what was yours like, just out of curiosity?
Yeah, so, and like Jane can probably come in and stop me here if I'm like wrong in parts of it, but I did mine in the CRC, so the Central Remedial Clinic. So I was in a couple of the training units that the services offer, and I just loved it. It was like, because when in like first and second year, you know, you're learning all about it, but in third year you get that hands-on approach. So I was able to kind of put all that into practice, or practice in the best of my my ability and stuff. So it was probably overshadowed by COVID, just that it was cut short, so we didn't get, say, the full duration and stuff. But it was just great to get in, and I was very lucky that the two of the other kind of tutors had done the degree, so I was able to kind of learn off them, and they knew where I was coming from and stuff. So that was kind of an added bonus that you probably won't get everywhere. But it was just lovely to, you know, kind of see what they had done after the degree, and where they were now, and it kind of just, you know, kept you motivated to keep going, and that, you know, these things are all in reach for you as well. So
yeah, and Olivia, I know you came in as well as a mature student.
I did, yeah.
How were you anxious about that experience?
Yeah, so like I had done a PLC when I had left school, and I think that's where my kind of love of further ed started to begin. So yeah, came in as a mature, was obviously nervous because you know, you're that bit older, and I think sometimes you think you're a bit out of touch with the kids. Like that's not the case at all. And you know, it's great because you learn off, say, an 18-year-old, and or like I came in, say, at 23 and stuff. So I did feel out of touch and stuff, but no, like the supports even in DCU are great for mature students. So you have like the reading week, and that's actually where I met Sarah and stuff. So it was great to kind of go in to the degree knowing familiar faces. So yeah, no, that was huge for me, the mature reading week. And then even just throughout the year, like the societies and stuff that you can join that are across the board. But yeah, it's just, I think the mature students add to it as well, because they have that bit of life experience. So maybe when you're in class and, you know, you're doing different debates, like, you know, you've maybe a younger set of eyes looking at it, and then an older kind of seen a few more summers in myself. So yeah, you just, you know, you see it in different ways, and that's great. It really helps, you know, get the debate going, and just, yeah, it's just really, I just think it's very beneficial and stuff. And obviously Sarah can touch on the flexi mode of it and stuff, which like in the placement we got to kind of work with them as well, so that was great. Because again, they have done the degree themselves, and you just kind of, you learn off each other, is like what I'm trying to say. So yeah,
thank you, and thank you for that smooth segue over to Sarah, who is taking this course in the flexi mode. So Sarah, how has that been for you?
It's been brilliant. I would come on the back of Jane and say it's been transformative for me. Like Olivia said, I had the opportunity as a mature student to do the writing week beforehand, and I just thought that was invaluable. Particularly if you hadn't been in the education kind of system and you were out of whack for a while, you know, school and stuff like that was a while back. I was very apprehensive coming in, to be honest. I had a 2-year-old and a 1-year-old. So I didn't even know if I could do it. But honestly, from the minute I went to the interview, I just felt more reassured from the people on the programme. One of the lecturers, Peter Tiernan, he interviewed me, and I felt so much more relaxed even coming out the door. From the get-go, you know, I think it's instilled throughout the programme that you can do this. You know, we're all kind of in this together. Like Olivia said, that community kind of practice is very much instilled in the programme. I did it in the evenings and the weekend. So it's Tuesday and Thursday evenings, and then Saturday mornings. Varies. It can be both semesters or one semester. You know where you're coming in, like you're coming in knowing you're doing the flexi, so you have everything organized. And then particularly it's brilliant that if you're working during the day, you can still do the degree. Like where else would you get that? I've nothing but good positive praise for the degree and the lecturers. Like the lecturers are so supportive, I have to say, throughout the whole programme. None of us have ever felt, oh, we can't go to a lecturer or approach a lecturer. And you really have that kind of, you build that relationship. you know, I've heard terrible stories of people in a hall, like I know Sophie touched on it earlier, in smaller groups, and there's hundreds of people and they don't know the person, you know, sitting next to them, they never get to meet them. Whereas you really have that community within the programme. I think everybody gets a voice and everybody kind of gets to have their own input. I suppose what I thought was great about it, like Sophie did touch on, you could go down your own avenues.
Yeah.
So there was always options for, you know, primary school or further education and adult education. Most of my group, it was a small group, we all kind of were in the band of adult education.
Yeah.
And it was just invaluable learning off other people in the group. Like Olivia said, then we got to amalgamate with the daytime people in placement, and you're learning so much more. You're looking at the degree from a different perspective.
Yeah.
The modules are, you could bring them anywhere. Like you have your sociology, your psychology, all about people. Everything in life is about people. They'll stand to you no matter where you go. And then there's the strands like Jane talked about, like the sustainability. Like that from a personal perspective really opens your eyes, and you kind of sit back and go, oh, what's going on here? Stuff you don't have time to think about.
Yeah.
And then the support, like I was worried going in, as I said, about the academic end of it, going, how am I going to write an assignment? Like first year, you have an academic reading and writing. I don't know if that's still going on. That's brilliant. I don't think a lot of courses do that. So you're not being held by the hand, but you're being supported through the whole thing. And by the time I got to final year, I was like, I can actually write this thesis, you know? Whereas when you're down here in first year, you're looking up thinking, I'm never going to get there. But that was literally true. Like Jane had touched on, the knowledge and skills from the programme, like what the lecturers brought to it, what the other people in my class brought to it, and just building yourself up and realising you can actually do that. So I had amazing personal growth from the course. I've just finished. Don't know what to do with myself now. I've handed that thesis in.
You won't be letting go of it, Sarah.
No, I've got the bug. That the course has given me the bug for you know, study. It's a real privilege to be able to get in and to study, particularly with kids. You know, it's difficult, but it's a real testament, I think, to the degree that you can get through the degree, you come out the other end like a confident person that you know you can go out and do all of these jobs. So I'm hoping to probably stay in the remit maybe of adult education, maybe looking around at, you know, non-for-profit organizations. But there's so much, like if you read the job descriptors out there, there's so many things that you can go into, like the HR and training and the leadership, and it's a brilliant degree, and it's a great foundation for, like, you know, people like doing the primary or further education, and it does give you an insight as to where you can go or what you may want to study further in future. So yeah, I've nothing but positivity about the programme.
That's great. I love hearing those transformation stories of, you know, so many people who walk in first year and think there's no way I'll physically be able to ever write a dissertation or a thesis or anything along those lines. And not just on this course, but, you know, DCU for any first year, any, albeit in any year, you know, we have, say, the writing centre where you can go, and if you're struggling with referencing, which you have to do when you're writing academic papers, or, you know, if you need to write essays or you're not sure how to identify kind of authentic sources versus some that maybe aren't as good, like, you know, services are there to help you. Or I'm not sure if there's much maths involved in this course, but if there was, and even a small little calculation or a statistic, and you were struggling with that, we have a maths learning centre in the library, which is again another service completely free of charge for all DCU students, where you can go and get assistance with that. And actually something as well that you just mentioned in passing, Sarah, there about, like, even the lecturers are really approachable, and, you know, that's on purpose in DCU. You know, the lecturers are on a first name basis, as opposed to kind of even creating that barrier by having to call someone like professor whatever, and kind of creating that distance. You know, call them by their first name, knock into their office in their office hours, or give them a ring or email them, you know, and that really just adds to the experience. And those small class sizes, which I think is really important for, like, an education degree like this, just to really hear everyone's opinions and make sure that their learning is kind of growing as the years go on as well. Joshua, you have been there, done that, got the t-shirt in terms of education and training, and you're still learning at the minute, doing your master's. How are you getting on there?
Grand, yeah, it's we're getting there bit by bit. So I've one more assignment for this semester, and then done for the summer. So yeah, it's kind of the same thing. I had my final year in the BSc in 2020, so it was all, half of it was COVID, and it's still COVID, but glad that I kind of decided, I might as well do it, keep going with the kind of the energy that I had at the end of the undergrad. I might as well kind of keep going with the master's. So it's been going well so far. Yeah.
And did you know, Joshua, what area you would, when you were entering first year, I should say, did you have any idea what route you'd like to go down, or did you kind of learn that as you went through the course?
A kind of yes and no, I suppose. I was open to anything really. I was a mature student as well, so I was 26 coming to the course, and similar stories. When I left school, I dropped out of 2 different college courses and was a bit terrified of college, to be honest with you, because I kind of thought, if I start this another one, am I going to be able to finish it? And the similar stories, like the thoughts of doing a thesis, I was just like, I just literally couldn't imagine it. So to kind of, as all, like everybody was saying, the support through the way was great, and kind of got there eventually. But my mom works in adult ed and has done for about 30 odd years. So I was familiar with that, but I kind of always thought I'd be an English teacher. So that's what I had in my head. Did an arts degree, left after 6 weeks, did another thing, left after about a year. So, but when I got here, I kind of felt everything clicked in DCU, and it was lots of reasons. I love St. Pat's. It was just like, I kind of never thought I'd feel like part of the college campus vibe, but it was nice and small, but not too small. And it was, a lot of history to it, great location, wasn't too far from home. So everything, it was kind of like, I was kind of, thinking, is this too good to be true? Because it was just all kind of working, I suppose, is the way to put it. Yeah.
Great. Oh, it's great to hear that there's such kind of success stories. Jane, you might be able to hop in here. A lot of students are maybe fixated, for lack of a better word, on what job can I get from this is always the question. And as much as we try to explain, it's more of a career and you can kind of go into industry. Sometimes people want to know exactly what jobs. What sort of jobs have you seen graduates of this course go into over the years?
Well, a very wide variety, Sinead. And just to say, hands up, that many of our students coming through, and myself as well, were doing a degree for themselves, to enter into university and actually achieve something for them. Giving, huge amounts of time to their family, to communities, to work, to employment. It was something that was fulfilling a need for themselves. So that's a wonderful thing to be part of with somebody, and to see them kind of explore then, oh yeah, I can do more than this as they went through. But yeah, we've had great success stories. Every student coming through the program has gone on many kind of diverse ways, and it really reflects our education system in Ireland, but also the diversity of the further education and training sector. So we have a good number of students very interested in primary teaching, and they'll go through into the PMEP here in the Institute. Options in terms of masters in teaching in that regard. Some who really found to work in second level teaching would go on and do a subject or an arts degree, or one of the single arts subjects in DCU Connected that's available to us coming through the program as well. And some have gone into the guidance world, either in guidance and counselling in formal education, or else in adult and community education as well, which is really opening up as a really important route in terms of active inclusion, which is what we're all thinking about coming out of this bananas couple of years as we start to see the sun shining. But certainly it can be what you put into it is what you get out of it. It's an affirming degree. There's a lot in it. That for some students, depending on where they're coming through, is a lot to take on at first. But our career service here in DCU, I have to say, are incredibly proactive. They want to help, they want to advise, their door is open, they're ready to talk to each individual student to see what they want to achieve and then to help guide them in that direction. So the student support services, the guidance and the careers, the health services, every part of DCU is there for a student to learn more about what they want to achieve and to help them take the steps to get there. So We have a number of students working in corporate areas. They might go on and do a business degree, master's in business or HR, or else go directly into training in a multinational or a large organization, because all organizations have a HR and training function generally. And many of them would have done their placement year, which is the third year, optional year recognized by the Teaching Council for teaching and further education training, where you can work in a setting that's at the QQI levels 1 to 6 are equivalent. So you're looking at perhaps people going into paramedics, into TEFL, into training in the corporate sector, into adult education, into program development, into community education, into the PLCs. So the diversity right across the board is huge. Yeah. We have one star of our show who's a mature student who came in a number of years ago, and she loved the training element of the program and really threw herself into it. And she ended up organizing the training and staffing of an entire terminal in a new airport in the UAE, and is now working in international senior management for the G20. And that is a lady who never says no to anything. She goes, yeah, I'll give it a go. And that's kind of part of the spirit we like to see as well. And we see it in our students. Confidence is so much of it in the further education training sector as well, that relationship and that rapport. And, you know, you get back what you give. So it's very much kind of that ethos for our students. And we see them succeeding across the board. Some go into third level in terms of student support and working on program administration and curriculum development. Some have set up their own training companies. And many of our students are athletes or come through DCU. Some members of the Dublin GA team, I have to stick that in there, and in football and otherwise, and other athletes. We indeed have one of our students is going to the Olympics, please God, this year as well. So, you know, there's a lot in it there for any walk of life that you're interested in. And there's a certain amount of spinning there that can happen for some, and for others, it's more clear cut. Yeah, I know for sure that you have the support of your fellow students and of the DCU staff and support services to help you do that. And that continues for 2 more years after the undergraduate as well. And certainly when we try and keep you guys with us on a degree to go on maybe into research or other areas.
Absolutely. I think that's, I mean, you've just captured the beauty of it there. I think, Jane, very succinctly, you know, being able to kind of carve that path from day one when you enter, you know, you don't need to know exactly what you want to do. Your mind could totally change. You could be dead set on something and then it totally evolves through the way. But your community in DCU, not only through the academic staff, but as Jane said, your classmates and peers, but even the supports available there in DCU, very, very student focused, I must say. And we're just past the 5:30 mark, so I won't keep you guys too much longer, but I would like to ask if you could maybe let me know a highlight of your time in DCU so far, be it academic, be it a cool thing you did on placement, a project you've worked on, for your own reflection as well. I think it's always nice to hear.
Yeah, I would say the placement, I'm a big, you know, promoter of the placement year, especially if you, because I was lucky enough to kind of get work out of that. So I was working part-time as a tutor throughout my final year. And I was, you know, I know I would probably be one of the lucky kind of scenarios, but it does happen. A lot of the centers that people go into for adult ed, sometimes they're crying out for somebody to do a couple of classes here and there. So, you know, once you get in, once they know you, they're happy to kind of help you out. So I was lucky in that. And because the degree is not specific in a subject, it gives you the skills to teach and train. You know, I get a module like, you know, could you do internet skills? Can you do digital media? Can you do communications? Can you do a bit of ESOL, like the English language learning? You kind of start to just pick up stuff along the way. So, you know, I've never trained as a language teacher, but I know how to put a class together because of what we did in the degree. So, you know, the placement year, especially if you're not set on the primary and secondary, if you're kind of thinking, I don't really know what to do, I would definitely recommend kind of doing the extra year, because it can be, you know, extremely kind of helpful, you know, career-wise, you know. Yeah,
absolutely. I mean, gaining skills that you didn't necessarily even sign up for upon entry into the course. I mean, it's a great deal. Anyone else have a nice anecdote?
My highlight would definitely be the placement as well. I don't know if that's because I haven't like been in college since last March, like, but so we were on placement. It was meant to be from January, but obviously the schools were closed. So I think I started after Easter maybe. So it was nice to be actually in somewhere talking to people. But like the teacher that I had was like impressed with like how much stuff that we'd done in college around like that would actually help like in terms of inclusion and stuff and disability. And the school I was doing placement in is really big into the like sustainable development goals and stuff.
Great.
And we'd done loads on that in first year in particular. So yeah, I love the placement as well, and I was able to see like how useful all of the modules were like that we had done.
I think that that's another important kind of goal of DCU, is to create, I suppose, very employable graduates. And that's why I think it's over 70% of our courses have a work placement of some description built into them, so that you don't just spend 3 or 4 years in a classroom. You actually have something on your CV, to help you apply for jobs. And also, as Joshua mentioned, those really cool skills that you didn't bank on learning. Olivia and Sarah, anything to add before we finish up?
I don't know if Sarah wants to go next. Do you want to go, Sarah, or will I?
Sorry, my internet went really bad. I didn't hear everything just broke up. Reflection on the course as a whole, or your highlight. Just
if you have a highlight for people to listen to of your time, be it academic, be it placement, social, anything. Yeah. Well, I just suppose for me, it was just, I went into this thinking it's just education, and I came out with a completely different philosophy of what education is and what my ability is. So from a personal, I suppose, perspective, the course was transformative, the whole thing. Like, there's not one bit I could pick out and say, was rubbish. Do you know what I mean? Like, the whole thing, each time you went to do something new, or like the placement you have in second year and the placement year option that you have, they were brilliant, and I got a lot from them. But the whole program, from working with different people in the program, with the lecturers, with the people I knew, like, it opens up so many opportunities, networking, with, just from having a conversation with somebody on your course. They might just say something that clicks, and you go, okay, right, that's where I'm going. Yeah, it can be that easy. So Sarah has a 4-year highlight reel if anyone wants to. I'll just send it on. She'd be happy to chat to you about that for a couple of days. Olivia, do you want to close us off?
Yeah, just quickly. I think it was the work as a student ambassador, like, I've adored the 4 years, and I think just to be able to represent the degree and such, because like it'll be here long before I'm gone, and it's something bigger than yourself. So that's like definitely at like events and stuff, when people come over and they mightn't have heard about it, or they don't really know what it entails, and you've just planted a seed maybe, or you've made them have a second look at the course, and it's there's so much work being done by Jane and all the other lecturers and the students, and I it's just been a real honor to represent them as a whole. And obviously, hopefully there may be 1 or 2 students that may have put it on the CAO this year or years previous, so hopefully we get a few more student ambassadors in years to come to represent the degree. So yeah.
Absolutely. Jane, I'm not sure if you have any final words before we finish off as the chair of this course.
Well, dangerous to ask me, Sinead, but I just want to say part of this program has been a real privilege for me, getting to know everybody. Josh did fabulous work around citizenship and diversity, and I learned a lot from him and from his placement year as well. It comes right back into the group and from myself and the other staff. So I want to thank you, Josh, for that. Opened my eyes to lots of things. Sophie's been great this year, because many students didn't get to go out on placement, and every week she shared experiences and knowledge with the other students, and gave them a little window into the placement in primary teaching that was invaluable. It's not something I can do, Sophie, so I want to thank you so much for that. Olivia, what can I say? Olivia is a force in nature, been such a positive promoter of this program, and a huge support to me and other staff within the program, and I'm sure other students. So Olivia, we're going to miss you. I may have to think of ways of keeping you. So I just want to say thanks so much. And Sarah is missing her highlight. We had a Halloween competition last year, and Sarah won for being the Harvard referencing system. If people maybe remember.
Favorite thing to do. Referencing. I need to get a job in the library.
You do. We'll talk to Sue. Sarah, I've so enjoyed working with you as well, Sarah. Learned a lot from you as well. Really interesting exploration into kinesthetic learning and dance. And we'll never forget the hats, the actual physical representation of the hats in design thinking. We've had a lot of really good times, and we hope to continue doing that. So thank you, everybody.
Absolutely. Thank you very much for anyone who is watching this back. As I said at the start, if you do have any questions following this video, please do contact us at studenthelp@dcu.ie, or else just comment in the comment section below and we'd be more than happy to get back to you. Thank you sincerely to all of our panelists today who have taken the time out of their evening, sunny evening in Dublin anyway, to chat to us, and best of luck with your futures. I hope everything goes well. Stay safe, and I'll chat to you guys soon.